Yo guys, what is going on? So a lot of you guys requested me to do this video on Snapchat. You guys will hit me up every day saying, yo dude, can I marry you? Can I be your boyfriend? Can I be your girlfriend? Sadly, I had to reject all of them, but you guys all said, can you go pick up a Galaxy Note 5 and can you review it? Can you tell us if it's still worth it? And that's exactly what I did. But if you guys want any past technology that's, kind of old now and want to see if it's still worth buying, definitely feel free to hit me up on Snapchat. But I was able to pick up a Note 5 and looking around the body, it still looks pretty solid. I would say it's one of my top 10 favorite looking phones I've ever seen. The glass on the back really reminds me of the Nexus 4. I still like glass backs. The only problem is that fingerprints tend to be a problem, and especially the Note 5, it's super slippery, so I would definitely put a case on it of some sort. I'll leave some cases in the description that I find on Amazon. Now, looking at the front, there's a 5.7 inch Super AMOLED screen. It's a Quad HD display with 518 pixels per inch, and in my opinion, I think that's super impressive. Obviously, it still holds up today. It's probably going to hold up for like the next couple years, but if you're going to get it used, I would definitely recommend making sure there's no screen burn-in. Super AMOLED and any AMOLED screens tend to have burn-in. Also, looking at the front, you have the home button, which has a fingerprint sensor. The setup for the fingerprint sensor is kind of weird, I'm not going to lie, but it's whatever. And there's two capacity keys next to the home button. One is for going back and the other one is for the recent panel. The front also has a 5 megapixel camera, which isn't that bad. And the back has a 16 megapixel camera, which is still really good today. It takes really awesome shots, and I would say if you're into photography, you could definitely get some dope shots with this camera. I was never a fan of Samsung's camera app, but there's a ton of third-party camera apps you can use too, so I guess that's like one advantage. Now, turning on the phone, you're presented with Android Marshmallow, which is a sad thing because it's already behind in updates, and it's technically the newest Galaxy Note phone you can buy legally, but I guess the version of Android it's on is stable, it's pretty smooth. I really haven't had any stutters or crashes or anything, mostly because it has an octa-core processor clocked in at 2.1 gigahertz with 4 gigabytes of RAM, so this thing is a powerhouse. And pretty much whatever you throw at it, it will be able to run it. If you're playing games, multitasking, using the VR headset, all that stuff you can do at the same time somehow, and it'll be able to run no problem. One thing though is that this phone does heat up quite a bit. Sometimes I would just turn it on and just go to the internet browser, maybe using Chrome, and it would just heat up like crazy, and I would never understand why. And maybe it has something to do with the glass back, but with my Nexus 4, I never really had any problems with that. Now, before I go any further, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Sphere.io. Now, they reached out to me and they said, if you're planning on making another phone video, we'd love for you to use our website and look at the specs of the phone because we go into a little bit more detail, and I 100% agree. Now, basically what Sphere does over the competitors is they give you a more detailed analysis, on the processing power, battery life, camera quality, and so much more. Now, one thing I like visually is that there's like circular things, and in those circles, there's like the green little bars, and that shows you how well out of 100% that phone ranks in that specific area. And a lot of these websites I go to, they're visually not that good looking, and they're just kind of plain, but I like what Sphere is doing right now, and visually it looks pretty sweet. They also have a tracking feature, so it can help you find the phone at the lowest price. So definitely check out their website, Sphere.io. I'll go ahead and link it in the description, as well as the specs for the Galaxy Note 5 through their website. But anyways, let's get back to the video. But just don't expect to be able to use it all day. It has a 3000 mAh battery, and with the specs this has, that is a huge disadvantage. Even like a 3500 mAh battery would have been okay, but the fact that you can't even swap out the batteries, like the Note 4 had a bigger battery than this one, and that you could swap out the batteries and even put a bigger battery in it if you want to. If I were to use this as a daily driver every day, I would be out of battery halfway through the day, and I would have to shift the way I use my phone, which I hate doing. I have an iPhone 6 Plus right now, and I just like using my phone to however I want to and not worry about the battery life. This phone would almost be perfect if they just increase the battery life by a little bit. But it does have wireless charging and fast charging, so if you don't really care about battery life, you can just throw it on a charger real quick and you can just run off and do whatever. But the Galaxy Note 5 also has the S Pen, which is one of the Note line's best features in my opinion. If you guys aren't familiar with S Pens, go to Best Buy and try out one of their Note phones over at the Samsung booths or whatever. You'll come to love it. It's honestly an awesome feature, and I wish more phones use such an innovative piece of tech. It's so awesome. In my opinion, it's kind of ahead of its time, and a lot of people might think it's stupid because it's like a stylus or whatever, but it's way more than a stylus. Best Buy and other companies were still selling this phone after the Note 7 incident, so if you really want to pick one up, I guess you could go there and buy it brand new. But if you want the Galaxy Note 5 specifically, I would recommend going on eBay or Craigslist and trying to find one there. But one thing about the Note 5 you have to remember, the battery life and the updates were the number one things that turned me off from keeping this as my daily driver. Honestly, if I were you, I would just pick up a used Nexus 6P. I know that phone is having like a bunch of hardware issues I've heard over on the Nexus 6P subreddit, but if you pick up a good, decent working one, I think that phone is almost perfect. The Note 5 isn't a bad phone at all, really, but I just see the Nexus 6P being a better device all around. If you want me to do a updated review on the Nexus 6P and see if it's still worth it, maybe like a video like this, hit that like button. If we get like 200 likes on this video, I'll go ahead and do that. Hey guys, what's up? It's me. Click that subscribe button. Go ahead, do it. I'll just wait here. You can go ahead and click it. Like I'll just